The UFC rankings are out, and we are back on pay-per-view inside the Octagon. UFC 215 is here. I'm Matt Parrino.
And we're talking about things that are no longer Conor McGregor for a change. Thank God. And we're going to start with the king of the UFC. This is Demetrious Johnson. He's going to be the best fighter ever in one fight, unless Ray Borg says otherwise. Does otherwise,
so I
beats him in a fight.
Exactly. I went back and watched a bunch of Ray Borg's fights because, hey, you know, maybe a lot of people might not know a lot about Ray Borg, but this guy has been a rising prospect in this division for a while. Your favorite, Brian Stann, it seems like every time he fights says, this could be a guy we're talking about one day that takes out Demetrious.
Brian Stann, I should have worn my black arm sleeve.
I know.
He's leaving us.
I know.
On to bigger and better things, Brian. Miss you, brother.
What do you make of Ray Borg? He's good everywhere, really good on the ground. Wrestler, striking is evolving.
The striking is evolving, but the one thing he's got is a natural quickness. Now, I don't know if he's going to be as quick as Demetrious Johnson, but he's quicker than most of the people he's fought by a good bit. So, again, the problem with Demetrious Johnson is twofold. One, he's quicker than everybody he fights. Two, he can fight at a higher pace for longer than everybody. So, you know, in regards to the quickness, Borg definitely has some neutralizing quickness of his own. As far as the conditioning and pace, I've never seen anything in his past history that would suggest he could beat Demetrious there.
He does have quickness and he does have some power in his hands. Like we said, he's evolving. He landed a couple big shots on Jussier Formiga in their last fight. So he's fighting another guy that, you know, he's been preparing for years. You know, he said when he got into MMA at 17 years old, Demetrious Johnson was just winning his title. So he's had his eyes on Demetrious for a long time. When this fight opened, Demetrious was a -600 favorite that has pushed up to as high as -1100 in some places. So a tall task at hand for Ray Borg. This is the rankings report, okay?
Right.
This is a preview. So I want to prep everybody for a situation that could arise next week.
Right.
If Ray Borg wins this fight, this has happened a few times. He's won 2 fights in a row. He's on a nice little roll. But if he wins this fight, will that performance in and of itself be enough for him to enter the pound-for-pound rankings in your eyes?
Wow, I really don't know. Maybe to enter them, sure. Be the greatest fighter of all time? Stop him from becoming the greatest fighter of all time? Sure, you get to be in the top 15.
In the co-main event, it's a big one. It feels like we've been waiting for this one forever. Amanda Nunes, Valentina Shevchenko.
Yeah, once upon a time it was the main event, yeah.
But still a very important fight. Joe Rogan has been on record as saying this is the most high-level fight in the history of the women's bantamweight division. If you go back, watch their first fight, Amanda came out strong, as she always does. Valentina in the third, you know, she seemed to be taking control over the fight.
See, Amanda gassed hard. This is a 5-round fight. Amanda does not have a great track. She's explosive, she's powerful, but she doesn't have a great track record of going the distance. If Amanda hasn't put the fight away in the first 3 rounds, it could be, say her name? Shevchenko trying to finish the deal. Even if she gives up a couple rounds in the beginning, which sounds like boxing talk again, to take her and finish her in the later rounds, it's possible.
It's a very interesting time in all of the women's divisions. The new 125-pound division is debuting as we speak on FS1. The Ultimate Fighter will crown a new 125-pound champion. That is a division that Valentina has talked about wanting to go down to for a long time. She's got an opportunity to win the championship here. Holly Holm, some rumors about her maybe going back up to 145 pounds. So there's a lot of kind of weird stuff going on as we kind of remake.
There's a lot of women that want to fight at 125, and 115 was a little too tough for them to manage.
Paige Van Zandt.
Yeah, you know, so I'm excited about the weight class, but let's not take anything away from 135, which has been the original weight class of the UFC and Strikeforce, and has been where the most competitive fights have been.
Actually, another name that stands out to me in this division who is on the doorstep of potentially a title shot, Sarah McMahon. She is the main event of the prelims. Big fight for her. Kat Zingano has a win over the champion, Amanda Nunes. So still a lot of contenders in this division. Moving right along, the 205-pound division. You know, obviously a lot up in the air with that right now. John Jones just won the title. He's got some stuff going on outside the octagon. But we talk about this all the time in that division. Who is going to step up? Who are going to be some of these prospects that can step up? We have one here in Khalil Roundtree, I think.
Yeah, but outside of the top 6 guys, it's thin pickings.
Exactly. So when a guy really stands out like this next guy does, it's time to tune in and watch.
Next guy, Tyson Pedro.
Pedro.
It's funny, I was just talking to the CEO of, yeah, I just spit in your eye too. It's fun. I was just talking to the CEO of UFC gyms in Australia.
Yeah.
He's excited about this guy, but I figured it was just because he's Australian.
He's got 2 finishes. He submitted Khalil Roundtree, and then Paul Craig finished him in the first round, TKO. Now he's fighting Ilir Latifi, which is a huge step up in competition.
It is a step up. It's actually the right step up. And I like it when athletes are kind of on that path. Well, let's see how good you are. And not to take anything from Amir Latifi, but he's kind of that gauge of whether or not you're good.
Amir, same thing, close
Latifi.
enough.
We're boys, it doesn't matter. We're
All right,
boys.
cool. Moving right along. Finally, Gilbert Melendez is back, and he is going to make his 145-pound debut against Jeremy Stephens, fight of the night contender. What do you think of Gilbert?
Every Jeremy Stephens fight and every Gilbert fight has the potential to be fight of the night. So the two of them together, it will not be a snore fest.
And what do you think about Gilbert at 145 pounds?
I don't know. I mean, he's always been a little doughy, but he wasn't a small guy. They'll be fighting at a high pace. Gilbert always fights at a high pace. I'd be interested to see your first time at a new weight class. He's never fought at that weight class before, ever, in any organization. So we'll see.
As always, go to UFC.com for the complete rankings. And before we get out of here, you've spent a lot of time with Demetrious Johnson. You guys do all these Facebook Lives together. You know, what has come out of that? What have you learned about, you know, the pound for pound?
Well, so Demetrious Johnson is the consummate professional. You know, he's a student of the game. He takes his conditioning, he takes his life, he takes everything seriously. His family life, everything is oriented around him being the champion and being the best pound for pound fighter in the world, you know. I was there, we got crazy, we had 3 beers and we're out till 11:15, and that was the craziest he does because he's a professional. I stayed out later.
All right, so that's it. Thanks for that extra special glimpse into the Demetrious' life. He's fighting this weekend, huge fight. I'm excited.
Check him out on, what's his video game thing?
Twitch.
Check him out on Twitch. He's also amazing at video games. I'm assuming it's that hand-eye speed coordination thing that he's got going for him. Makes him great at fighting too. Don't sleep on good video gamers. They will tear you up in a fight. Remember that.
You play any
Next
video
time
games?
you're thinking about, I'm horrible at video games, and I have no hand-eye coordination to speak of. So let that be a lesson, kids. Play more video games.